Today, friends, we are checking out the Black Diamond P2000x1d. This was sent out by your boy Big Jeff. So, if you're looking to buy this amp or anything else Big Jeff sells, I'll leave my affiliate link in the description below. With that being said, let's go ahead and unbox this and see what kind of power it actually does. Before we get to the unboxing, let's kind of check the box out and see what kind of information it holds. So on the back here, you get the model number DIA-P2000x1d, and on the bottom we have all the information we need. This is a Class D monoblock subwoofer amplifier. Total peak watts are 6,000. We know that's probably not going to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm almost 100% sure that won't happen, but we do have the RMS power numbers: 800 watts at 4 ohm, 1300 watts at 2 ohm, and 2000 watts at 1 ohm. You have a frequency response from 10 to 220 hertz, a total harmonic distortion of 0.01. It's a fixed low-pass crossover, and the crossover filter range is from 40 to 180 hertz. The bass boost range is a 12 dB bass boost. The bass boost frequency is 30 to 80 hertz. On this side, you have the infrasonic filter, 10 to 50 hertz, also known as a subsonic filter to mini. Minimum impedance 1 ohm. Power input terminal size of 0 gauge. Recommended fuse 200 amps. Remote level control included. Thermal protection, overload protection, DC output protection. All of those yes. The voltage output protection is anything below 9 volts, anything above 16 volts, and it does have clipping protection. I actually think it's a really good looking amp. I like the size of it. It's compact this way. You know, it's kind of a long amp. I like the extrusion here for the Black Diamond logo, and it's just completely blacked out, and I think that's a cool look. Now let's look around the amp itself here. So as you can see, you have high and low level inputs. You have your inputs here, your outputs here. This plug is for the remote bass knob. So you have your gain, your low pass filter, your subsonic filter here, and then your frequency, which relates to your boost here. So 0 to 12 dB boost. At what frequency? You can choose 30 to 80 hertz. On this side, you have the speaker inputs. Both these sides are negative, both these sides are positive. It is internally bridged. You also have your power and ground input, as well as the remote turn on. All right, as far as these terminals here, I have found that the biggest you're gonna get in to the speaker terminal is 12 gauge, and you really gotta stuff it in there. So if you get a nice clean strip and stuff it in there, you're gonna be okay with 12 gauge on the speaker. The power terminal is a little bit of a different story. 1/0 welding cable, which is a little bit smaller than car audio cable, inside of here. You would have to strip it back a little bit, and then you could barely stuff it in there, but you see you're getting some push out. You can get 1/0 welding cable in there if you do it very cleanly and take your time. So 1/0 adapters you think might make that easier. Well, the 1/0 adapter I have here will not even come close. So you can see it won't even fit past the plastic. Probably the easiest thing for you to do is going to be to use a 1/0 to 4 gauge adapter right at the terminal, and then it'll fit in perfectly easily, no problem. That is what I'm going to do for the test. We're going to start with the 4 ohm mono test. We are rated 800 watts by 1. We are starting out at around 14.7 volts. I did notice that if I try to start this amp up at over 15 volts, it would go straight into protect. So keep that in mind if you're running over a 15 volt system in your ride. So let's get it going. We're rated 800 watts by 1 at 14.4 volts. Let's see what kind of power we get, what kind of amperage we draw. $788 watts, drawing 100 amps at 14.2 volts. Now we're on to the 2 ohm mono test. We are rated 1300 watts by 1. Again, starting at 14.7 volts. So let's give it a rip. Let's see what it'll actually do. 1333 watts, drawing 180 amps at 14 volts. We are on to the 1 ohm mono test, starting out at 14.7 volts. We're looking for 2000 watts here. That is what it is rated. So let's see what it can actually do. (2020 watts), 335 amps at 13.5 volts. So as the test was going on, you might have noticed a slight hum. That is not coming from the amp itself. That is coming from my power supplies. When you do the 40 hertz test with a lot of amperage being drawn, you get a little bit of electronical hum from my power supplies. So this amp is actually very, very quiet, more quiet than most amps that I test on this bench. So just to show you guys what's going on here, you can see we're at 15 volts. I typically run the SPIM cells over 15 volts, about 15.4. That way I can get a nice 14.4 volt reading on some of these bigger amps. But if I click on here, that powers it up. So you can see it is in protect. So I'm going to get back down to 14.9 and see if it turns on. All right, now we're at 14.9 volts. We'll see if this turns on this time or if it won't turn on at 14.9 volts. As you can see, we have power. So that's not to say that not going to 15 volts is a bad thing. It's actually a protection circuit in there that keeps it from going over 15 volts, which is fine. Except that on the package it does say the operating voltage is 9 to 16 volts. So that's just something to be aware of. If you're running 15 volts or more, this amp might not be the one for you. Not a bad thing. Again, most people are not running over 15 volts. They're running 14.4 or lower. So just keep that in mind when you're getting this amp. Now it's time to void the warranty and check out these guts. All right, it's time for my final thoughts on the Black Diamond 2001. Overall, I think it's a good looking amp. I really like the way this amp looks. Having multiples of these would look really good in an install, especially if they sell a 4-channel that matches this style. I think it would look super, super clean. It pretty much did its power at every single level, so you can't really be mad at that. The other downside is that it only operates up to 15 volts, which we found out through testing. Not a big deal for most people, but some people that might be a consideration when using this particular amp. So all that into consideration, this is a very solid amp. I really like the look of this amp, including the guts. This thing is a little tank, and you would not be disappointed if you picked it up. So with all that being said, I want to give another shout out to BigJeffAudio.com, where you can pick this amp up with my affiliate link in the description below. I believe this amp costs $275. I will put the correct price up on the screen, and as always, you can follow the link below. So I do appreciate each and every one of you who take the time to watch, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you're not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting the bell, and if you're a new subscriber, drop me a comment below and let me know. I'm really appreciative of every new subscriber I get. I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters, but the $6 or more members get a special shout out, and that is 2001 Monolithic, Gene Nava, Joaquin Juarez, El Fuego Audio, Travis McClendon, Brandon Hanna, William Berg, Boxboy Audio Sound Solutions, Jesus Tires, Dennis Cromwell Jr., Scott Dilbeck, D. Stewart, David Kozlik, Scott McCord, Matthew Tolberg, Cornut, Trucker 9000, Bobby Burkett, Kevin Lautner, James Childers, Baba, Thomas Marshall, Living Loud with Andy, Neil Nato, Chris Cogburn, Lars Madsen, and Old School Stereo. For as little as $2 a month, you can join the Patreon team and get exclusive Patreon-only content, including a monthly Patreon-only hangout stream. It's a really good time. You guys are missing out, and if you want to join, check me out at patreon.com/HifiVega. If you watched my last video, you know that I tested this little Timpano TPT-500.4. I said I will give it away at the end of this video, and that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the random comment generator, and I will show you guys that, pull up the winner, and we'll see who won this little Timpano amp. Good luck to all of you, and I hope to catch you on the very next video. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pick our winner here. I've got the video pulled up. We will grab that link, paste it in here. Now we'll go down and we'll filter out duplicate users, and that's all we're going to need to do. So we'll solve our sum to get our YouTube comments. We have 67 unique comments. Now we will start raffle and pick winner. All right, looks like we got Darren Mobley. I'd hook it up in my nephew's car. I gave him door speakers and a sub amp already. Use it to round out the system. All right, so we'll just go check out and make sure that is a legit comment down here. There we go. Darren Mobley, you are the winner, my friend. I just need you to do one thing. Hit me up, HifiVega@gmail.com with your name and shipping address, and I will get that out. So congrats to you.